Welcome to Offscreen. This week we're reading I Am Ryan Reynolds by Billy Goulston, an inside look at the marriage, career, and mental state of 2010's Sexiest Man Alive. So there wasn't a whole lot online about Billy Goulston. When you Google the screenplay, I am Ryan Reynolds. The first search result is the 10 worst sounding titles that appeared on the blacklist.
Ugh.
But like the 7th or 8th search result is the 10 most promising titles that appeared on the blacklist.
What?
Yeah,
That's weird.
So,
How is it bad sounding and yet promising?
well, different articles.
I guess, but it's weird to me that this would seem to anyone like either one of them. I mean, I don't know. It intrigued me. I guess that was why we read it, just because it sounded weird. It doesn't sound...
It sounds absurd. It is absurd.
The logline is super vague, and it really does not... It doesn't help you understand what the script is actually about at all.
Yeah, if it weren't so, like, Access Weekly or whatever sounding, like the logline,
Yeah.
you would kind of assume that it was like a straight biopic of Ryan Reynolds.
Which kind of
but
fascinated me.
It's so gossipy that the way it's worded, I think, that it kind of...
I think when I saw the logline, and part of the reason that I wanted to read it was because I was intrigued, because I thought it was maybe just like a straight biopic of Ryan Reynolds, and like maybe would shed some light and maybe some humanity on Ryan Reynolds, who I'm pretty sure I've gone on record on this podcast saying I don't like. And part of the reason I don't like him is because he always seems fake to me. He always seems like he's putting on an act. He's like always sarcastic for one thing, or if he's not being sarcastic, he's like joking. I never feel like I'm seeing the real Ryan Reynolds.
Sure.
Which is why this script fascinated me. I was hoping maybe I'd get a glimpse at the real Ryan Reynolds.
See, I feel like this is almost better, though, because it's probably... maybe the writer or maybe public perception isn't too different from how you feel. And it's kind
Probably
of just
not.
making light of that.
I guess.
Which is kind of a funny concept.
Yeah, I suppose. But anyway...
But it's not really ultimately Ryan Reynolds specific. It's more, I guess, about celebrity or the nature of it.
I suppose. But we should talk more about the writer, what little we know
This
about.
microphone is really up in our faces.
Too much?
I don't know. Do you think it's better?
I'm sure the sound quality will be better.
Yeah? Okay.
Is it really bothering you?
I don't know. I'll try and make do. It's really, really difficult.
Oh, brother. So you found a little bit about...
Oh, yeah. So,
Mr.
the other
Goulston?
article I saw, was that his parents' house, his childhood house, was used for 2 weeks for the last party scene in Superbad.
Okay,
and actually,
yeah,
his
that's cool. That's the one where I think both Michael Cera and McLovin have sex in that house. Or does maybe not Michael Cera? I can't remember.
Cera
no, he
doesn't...
just got really drunk at that
No,
party.
the girl he was into got really drunk.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and then I guess he gets really drunk to try and catch up. But
yeah,
Mike Levin loses his virginity in Goulston's parents' bedroom.
House. Interesting.
Yeah, so...
Looks like a really nice house, too.
Yeah. So it looks like he's from the LA area. He went to Harvard-Westlake High School.
Yeah, that's a pretty, I think, like, affluent neighborhood where that high school is.
Yeah. And I think that's really all I found on him. He had one IMDb credit, but not as a writer.
Okay. Well, should I get right into...
Oh, weird.
Huh. Oh, was he on Script Shadow?
Not only was the script reviewed on Script Shadow, prior to the blacklist, he submitted it to Script Shadow to be reviewed as an amateur writer.
Okay.
Which is kind of funny.
Because
this guy gets
interesting.
Whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
that's all we got. You want to do the synopsis?
Yeah. All right. Over the last 20 years, a doctor named, I'm going to say Grebenshnikov, has perfected a cosmetic procedure which leaves his patients looking exactly like Ryan Reynolds. When the real Ryan finds out, he actually hires one of his lookalikes to take his place on a film. He hasn't been getting along with the director because Ryan insists on taking his shirt off in every scene. The lookalike, a valet named Phil, goes on to deliver a surprisingly nuanced performance opposite Emma Watson, his romantic interest in the film, and pretty soon the two of them aren't just acting. Ryan, meanwhile, tracks down all of Grebenshnikov's other patients. One of them is a man named Lucien, Lucien?
Yeah, sure.
Who happens to be publishing his wife Blake Lively's new memoir. Ryan walks in on her with Lucien, and when she's forced to choose between them, Blake chooses to leave Ryan. Seeing him washed up and alone, Grebenshnikov offers an operation to make Ryan unrecognizable, but Reynolds turns him down. Instead, he writes his own tell-all memoir, then skips town to start a new life of anonymity among the now dozens of other people who look just like him.
Got it.
There you go. Yeah. It's the best I could do.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, this was script was kind of all over the place.
You think?
I don't know where to start.
In what sense?
Well, it's mostly bad things, I'm afraid. I try to start with the good things, but I just felt like you have like an A story and a B and a C story, but the B and the C story, it felt like it couldn't decide which was the more important one.
What are the B and the C stories?
Well, one of them would be
Blake and Lucien.
Yeah.
Oh, and Phil and Emma?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So Blake Lively getting her memoir published, and she's cheating on Ryan with the publisher. That's one story. And then, Phil, the guy, the lookalike, who he trades places with, that story. Those both were paced really weirdly, and like I couldn't tell which one was supposed to be more important, but I didn't really care either. But I should back up a little bit. Just what were your overall impressions of this?
I feel like there's not going to be a lot to talk about with this one.
Maybe not.
Because it is kind of like a one-joke absurd thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate it.
Okay.
And
I thought that they captured Ryan Reynolds. Like, this was the disappointing but good thing about the script, is that I felt like they did a pretty good job making it sound like Ryan Reynolds.
But not really Ryan Reynolds, because we have no idea what he is. We have no idea what he's like as a person.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's disappointing, because they did a good job of it. Like, yeah, that sounds like the Ryan Reynolds I know, but that unfortunately is the one I don't like, and I wanted to see the real.
But then they got underneath that a little bit, and they got really at Ryan Reynolds' ennui about having all these people.
Barely.
I don't know. His just like. His dissatisfaction with his job, his inability to listen to his wife.
It's hard to care about that when the reason he's dissatisfied with his job is because the director won't let him take his shirt off in every scene.
Yeah.
All the characters felt very flat.
Yeah, there's not a lot of depth to this, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's downright nonsensical most of the time, I would say.
Well, no, it makes the internal logic of the screenplay make sense.
Oh, I would disagree.
Where do you disagree?
Okay, Phil, the lookalike.
Yeah.
The first scene is him taking a girl home because she thinks he looks like Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
So then the next morning, he refuses to admit that he's Ryan Reynolds.
He's not Ryan Reynolds.
So I know, but like, why did he get the surgery if he's refusing to admit that he's Ryan Reynolds?
He doesn't want to look like Ryan Reynolds. He doesn't want to be Ryan Reynolds. He wants to be handsome, like someone.
Okay, but she clearly
like someone who is Ryan Reynolds.
She clearly went to bed with him because she thought he was Ryan Reynolds.
But yet he always denied it at every turn.
No, he didn't really.
Yeah, he did.
He just avoided answering the question.
No, he answered them.
I thought that was.
She was like, "Why do you have that shitty car? Is it for a role?" And he was like, "No, that's my car." And then they get back to his shitty apartment, and she's like, "Is the mansion like under construction?" And he's like, "No, this is where I live."
But he didn't outright say, "I'm not Ryan Reynolds." But anyway,
but he wasn't directly asked, I guess.
But it was my understanding that this surgery doesn't just make you like handsome a la Ryan Reynolds. It makes you look exactly like Ryan Reynolds.
It makes you handsome, which is what Ryan Reynolds is.
No, I think it's like an exact duplicate.
It makes you it gives you the exact face of Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just dumb to me. Like, it seemed like, why would he bother if he's not gonna...
Because it's an absurd concept. That's the conceit.
Yeah. Fine. I don't know. But
it's like the Ryan Reynolds face is giving these people, like, hope and
Well, that was another
Shit.
really... Okay, maybe this was actually kind of funny, yeah. Because Ryan Reynolds... a lot of the story is him tracking down all the people who have had this surgery or operation.
Yeah, so he finds out about the surgery first. He goes to visit the doctor. He steals the list of all the patients from the doctor. So there's 73 names.
Yeah, he's tracking them all down, and it turns out that invariably all of them have had their lives irrevocably improved by the fact that they now look like Ryan Reynolds. Like, one of them is like a 14-year-old boy, which, that sounds incredibly creepy to me, the idea of a 14-year-old boy with the exact face of Ryan Reynolds. But I guess he was like...
That's hilarious. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, but he was like a burn victim, I guess.
Yeah.
And so he had like, it's not just a skin graft, it was like, I guess, a whole new face.
A Ryan Reynolds graft.
He had no choice, it had to be the Ryan Reynolds face, but whatever. So all of that was I guess kind of funny thinking back on it, but I don't know, at the moment I was reading it, it just seemed incredibly stupid.
But like, Ryan Reynolds is valued for he's the sexiest man alive, and that's just because of his appearance, right? Like that is what that poll.
They might argue that they take into other
but in actuality,
actuality,
it's just based on the surface.
Yeah,
and when Ryan Reynolds is no longer unique in the fact that he looks like Ryan Reynolds, then what is he? Who is he? What does he have?
But
he's no longer the sexiest. He's no longer really the sexiest man alive because
he's one of
73.
Many sexiest men alive.
Yeah, and yes, he's a genuine one, but that doesn't really matter because everyone else looks just the same on the surface, and beneath that, like, who is he? He's a guy that likes to take his shirt off and not listen to his wife. Like,
I think you're reaching. I mean, I agree. That's like a fascinating idea, that existential dilemma. But I really don't think this probed those depths very much.
No, it doesn't probe any depths, but it does flirt with it.
One of my biggest complaints was that if this was such a crisis for him, how come there was no noticeable change in his life, and nobody in the world of this story seemed to remark on the fact that, like, hey, suddenly there are a bunch of people that look like Ryan Reynolds. What's going on there? That was never addressed. And
yeah, that's not. But there is a noticeable change in his life, right?
But not until he finds out that it's happening, which that's different, because he just got mad that it was happening. Yeah. Like, it could have been going on for a long time. It was going on for a long time before he even noticed. It had no change on his life whatsoever until he suddenly got mad when he found out about it. That's different. So that's true. It's kind of undermined the whole importance of it to me. But I wanted to go back and I'll explain a little more what I was saying about the B and the C story, whichever one you consider the B or the C. But
sure.
So there's the story with Blake Lively, his wife, having her memoir published by this guy Lucian, who happens to also have had this operation, looks just like him. That story moved way, way too slow, I thought.
Okay.
And it was boring anyway, like their relationship and them kind of slowly falling in love. Like, it moves so slow. Like, it's just like a touch on the shoulder or like a little smiley face note that they leave for the other one, or like just these tiny little gestures. And then I don't even remember if I guess when the real Ryan Reynolds walks in on them, I forget, are they even having sex? I don't think so.
No, they're not. They're
just kind of hanging out.
They're just working, yeah.
So it never really is consummated, but so that moved way too slow. And then the story with Phil, the lookalike, who Ryan hires to take his place on the film, moved way too fast, I thought. Like, the first day that he's on set pretending to be Ryan, he's freaking out because he thinks he can't act, and then suddenly, as soon as the cameras start rolling, he delivers this brilliant performance, and he totally wins over Emma Watson. And then they fall in love.
It's kind of funny, though. It's like the only thing holding Ryan Reynolds back from being like a Marlon Brando-esque actor is the fact that he's Ryan Reynolds.
Maybe, I don't know.
But the only thing that got him into the place where that's even a possibility is that he's Ryan Reynolds.
I think it's funny, but it's not funny in a way that I think was intentional. I think it's
like a commentary on, like, Ryan Reynolds is just an attractive face. If he had any ounce of depth, he'd be a great actor.
I don't know. I think it's just funny because it's how badly it's written is what it seems like to me.
Okay.
And what else was I had another point on that. Oh, just that Yeah, so the pacing of those two subplots seemed way off to me.
Sure,
One was
okay.
way too slow, one was way too fast, but also the timing of them was weird to me. Like, I could see this being sort of Trading Places kind of movie. You know, the Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd vehicle from the 80s. But in that...
Great film.
My dad loves it.
My dad loves it.
It's a dad film.
Yeah.
But anyway, if that were the case, then the trading of the places would probably be around page 30 or something. That's like start of Act 2 sort of thing. But back to what I was saying about that plot being too fast, that switch doesn't occur in the script until page 40, I believe, is what I have. When he and by the way, all he does is pay this guy a bunch of money to take his place. Ryan Reynolds is I'll give you $750,000 to pretend you're me and like act in this movie.
Yeah.
Which of course he's gonna do that. That's like the least interesting way to motivate a character to me. That's like a universal that of course everyone would want to do that.
But isn't it?
If there
it's interesting because that is what Ryan Reynolds would do. Money is no object to him. He's just rich as fuck.
I don't know.
Why wouldn't he pay someone to do it?
Okay, fine. Maybe he pays him, but it would be more compelling if Phil's character had a personal reason that, like, this is everything he ever wanted or something.
Well, he's a big movie fan. That's
Guess.
established. He watches...
That's true.
Like 100 movies a month or something like that.
They did say that. But, so anyway, my point is that took place on, like, page 40.
Uh-huh.
And then... over the next just 20 pages, he has already become a great actor and fallen in love with Emma Watson. And then by page 63, so like 23 pages later, in like a 100-page script roughly, already he's had his whole character arc. In that page 63 is when he admits to Emma Watson that he's not the real Ryan Reynolds. Right. Which, if this were that kind of movie, that should be like a pivotal scene. That's like... the whole second act should be building up to that revelation that he is not really who he says he is. But then it's just like a 2-page scene, and it's over with. And I couldn't even tell if Emma Watson believed him or not. They didn't even make it clear.
Clearly she did by the end.
But, like, her reaction was so minimal. She's just like, oh, and okay, and then they start making out, and that's it.
Yeah.
So that was disappointing. There was, like, no meatiness to that plot line.
I mean, here's the thing, though. There's no meatiness to any of it, really.
I know.
It's kind of just about how superficial Ryan Reynolds, his persona is, his life is,
so do you think
his problems are.
Is this script supposed to be belittling Ryan Reynolds?
No, because I think it eventually gets to, like, the sense of, like, this crisis of identity for him. He has to come to terms with the fact that if he's no longer Ryan Reynolds, America's Sexiest Man... if he's no longer, like, unique in how he looks and how he's treated, then who is he?
See, that's fine. That's interesting to me. But, the doctor offered to make him look like anybody, just like someone else, not make him recognizable, and he turned him down. And then for him to just run off at the end and try and start a new life, it's like, okay, well, if you were going to do that, why didn't you take the offer and look like someone else?
Because then he's no longer him, right? He's just becoming someone else.
I guess, but I would have liked...
And who knows? It might have been Kim Kardashian, because that's who the last procedures performed on.
Wait, who could have been Kim Kardashian?
The doctor might have been wanting to turn him into Kim Kardashian.
I guess. That was like the next operation he had perfected, was making...
which I think, at least, I think that confirms that the writer has some sort of celebrity... thing like critique on his mind, like for celebrity culture,
sure,
right?
Yeah, sure. But I would have liked it more if like you were saying, if Ryan Reynolds was like exploring, trying to like redefine himself, and he was like trying new pursuits, like maybe new professions or something.
That'd be funny.
I would have loved to have
seen
seen
like
that.
masonry or
yeah, maybe he wants to do something very humble. Yeah, like construction or yeah. That would have been interesting and potentially funny, but it never really went there. And he just hires another guy at the end. After he writes his own memoir, he hires another lookalike to do a reading of it as he makes his escape. And it seemed like it was starting all over again. It didn't seem like it had really gone anywhere.
No, now he was escaping. He was giving up the Ryan Reynolds persona in order to be the true Ryan Reynolds.
That's where it should have started at page 40 when he first made the deal with Phil, I thought. It's like, why didn't he do that when he hired Phil to take his place?
Because I think he has to... He just wanted off the movie so he could figure stuff out. He wanted to win back his wife. He wanted to do all that shit.
I don't know.
But it seems like the conflict leading to his divorce was kind of flimsy. Like, why couldn't he have just told Blake the truth?
Yeah, I don't know.
The fact that, I mean, I know it's contrary to, like...
Well, I mean, it's always good for the sake of drama to have people keeping secrets from each other. I don't know if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, but there's no reason he couldn't have told... She wouldn't have been upset had he told her the truth.
Right.
In fact, she was upset that he didn't tell her the truth.
Yeah.
But it's just such a weird, strange thing to get divorced over.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously he's a bad listener, but...
well, that's true too, but that was a really dumb part for me too. He comes home one day and Blake Lively's like moving out. And he's freaking out and he's like, what? Why? Which, okay, he should know why. There's like, he's been a terrible husband through the script. But the reason is because she saw a tabloid of his lookalike making out with Emma Watson. Now, your thought immediately jumps to, okay, she thinks he's cheating when it's really just the lookalike. Yeah. But no, she can tell that's not really him. She's just upset because he was saying he was at work, but clearly his lookalike was at work.
Right.
That's such a lame... much less interesting reason. Like, to me, it would have been... The obvious choice would have been the better one, is if she thought he was cheating on her, because she saw that picture.
Yeah, but then that's like an annoying thing where he has to try and explain to her that, no, I wasn't actually cheating on you, and the audience knows that, and I don't like things like that, usually. Or it's just like, if he could explain it a little bit better, maybe she'd understand. That's frustrating.
But he could have explained it to her fine, and it still would have been really... hard for her to believe.
Yeah.
So I think that, I don't know, that would have been fine with me.
But it's weird that she doesn't notice. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's because she knows him so well that she knows that Phil isn't him, isn't Ryan, and she doesn't mistake Lucien for Ryan.
Right. She was, I think, completely oblivious to the fact that Lucien looked exactly like Ryan Reynolds too, which was pretty silly.
Yeah.
But I don't know, that seemed like such a weird curveball to like for that to be the reason for her to leave him. But then also, this is a similar thing. She finds at one point all of the doctor's files that he's stolen and sees Lucien's name in there.
Right, and that's a non-issue.
And it doesn't even occur to her like what that means. Which then I don't know why we even had the scene of her discovering those files. She even like confronted Lucien about it.
Yeah,
but
that's a good point.
It wasn't even a confrontation. She was just like, hey, this weird thing happened. I found all these files and, like, your name was in there. What's up with that? And she had no clue, like, what the actual...
Did he even have an answer? I forget.
He just pretended like, oh, that must have been someone else with my name.
Oh, it's very common in Germany.
Yeah. So, I don't know what the point of all that was.
Yeah.
It seemed really bizarre.
Um...
What was Ryan even trying to do, finding all these people with his face? Was he going to force them to undo the surgery?
Yeah, he was going to beat them up, but then he found they all had very heartfelt reasons, and they've all been enriched by the fact that they have a pretty face now.
Yeah. I think if you're going to go this weird with a script, you need to go all the way, and like, it should have gotten to the point where everyone in the world looked like Ryan Reynolds.
I mean, they're kind of getting there at the end, right, with...
well, they had some
LeBron James having Ryan Reynolds' face, and...
Oh, I forgot about that, yeah. I don't know. I think it was at an awkward level of craziness.
Sure.
It wasn't at like a grounded level where it's like you just take one strange conceit and treat it in the most realistic way possible. That's like one approach that's really interesting in movies. The other would be, I think you just need to go balls to the wall. And this didn't go quite that far. It just still felt fake and silly and goofy, but not extreme enough to justify that. I don't know.
Sure, I see that.
And I think, this could be the kind of script that you write just as like a calling card, sort of, to get you noticed. And I think that's a valid career decision.
Oh, sure,
if you write a film that like, this is probably never going to get made, but if it displays real writing talent and it's like interesting enough that it makes a name for you, that's fine. But the problem is the script is bad, so
sure,
it just isn't going to help. I mean, clearly it got him noticed enough, but he got on the blacklist for it. But still,
one thing in its favor is that Ryan Reynolds seems to have a sense of humor about himself.
Yeah.
I
don't think he would be above doing this movie.
Right, exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. Like from what we've learned about like how he treats his Green Lantern experience and his how he like kind of fought for Deadpool and
Right.
Ryan Reynolds in other roles, seems to be okay making light of himself.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
There's
I don't
really
know.
not a whole lot else to.
Yeah.
Really, not a whole lot more to say about it.
I guess if you're gonna read this, you might get some enjoyment out of it if it's just on the.
But it's not a bad read. It's a quick read.
To me, it was bad. Like, the more I thought about this, the more I was like, this might be one of the worst scripts we've read.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I disagree. I wouldn't put it in the top 10 worst.
I don't know. I mean, there's something to be said for the fact that, like, this was bad, but at least it was, like, bad in a really crazy way.
It was bad in a somewhat endearing way.
Like, the thing that, yeah, okay, maybe you're onto something here, because really the most nefarious bad scripts are bad because they're, like, so boring and uninteresting.
Or
they're just, like...
for me, offensive, self-important.
Okay, true. Okay, interesting, because I've wondered this, too. Is it worse to fail at a comedy script or a drama script? Because if you're failing at a comedy, at least, you know, if you have a sense of humor about your material and, like, you're not taking it too seriously, then it seems like, oh, okay, well, no big deal if you didn't deliver on it.
Sure.
You're just having fun. It does come off really... It's not a good look if you have, like, a really heavy drama that you're trying to, like, deliver some message and it just falls flat.
I don't like self-congratulatory things that end up being, like, very vapid but think they're profound.
But I still think that maybe even worse than all of that is something that's just, like, aggressively mediocre. Like,
okay.
You can't even really fault it too much for things. You can't really criticize it or point to, like, this was a mistake. It's just, like, all of it is so... boring and safe and like.
But isn't that like back to our disagreement, our on and off again disagreement about like ambition in scripts? Like I think you're more willing to judge things on their own terms if something has no aspirations to be good. You're cool with that, but
I see what you mean.
But I think that's just a total waste of time. Why write something if you don't think it's
to me that's different.
Good.
I feel like you cannot be too ambitious about like making a statement or making some kind of like revolutionary new kind of movie and still make it really, really good within the confines of a particular genre or whatever. And there's still
I think any genre has great examples. There's no genre that is like devoid of quality.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's okay to not be super ambitious and still...
But those are ambitious I guess if they are good. If they wind up being good, I feel like.
So then fine. Maybe that we're not in such disagreement on that. I don't know.
Maybe not.
But yeah, the thing that I think is more of a crime is when you're trying to play it really safe and be too conventional. But this definitely wasn't that. Ryan Reynolds, this script was as risky and like...
Well, not really risky, but
yeah, it's thinking outside the box at least.
Yeah, I liked it. It's kind of a one joke thing, but I liked it more than some of the other one joke things we read. For example, Fully Wrecked.
Yes, that's a good example. Or I was thinking of Pierre also.
Yes, exactly.
That one was pretty bad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, should we do our usual self promotion?
Yeah. So you can find us on iTunes. We are Off-Screen Podcast, off-screen. If you could give us a rating or leave us a review, we haven't got one in a really long time.
You don't even have to write anything. You
just hit the
how
number
many
of stars, and if it happens to be 5 out of 5 stars,
more
power to you.
We give ratings on scripts all the time. It's really easy.
Yeah, and we enjoy it. Maybe you'll enjoy.
Yeah, it's a sense of power and self-righteousness.
Yeah, it's really what enables me to get out of bed every morning.
It's knowing that you will get to tear a script apart.
Knowing that I impact the world in some... No, I'm just kidding. I don't do that at all. And then we have a website, which Daniel designed.
No big deal.
It's pretty cool, although it was looking a little funny on Chrome the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. OSPodcast.com. And you can email us at info@ospodcast.com. And we, see?
Yeah, they changed the way that the player looks. That's why. Yeah, I have no control over that.
Gotcha.
It still looks okay, I think.
Yeah, it still looks great. It just looks different.
Aesthetic, yeah.
We have Twitter. We're on Twitter. It's @OSPodcast. Facebook.com/OSPodcast. We're on YouTube,
Yeah.
and if we get more subscribers, we can eventually get a real YouTube URL.
So it would hypothetically be like youtube.com/OSPodcast.
One
But
would
it's
hope.
not, so
One would
don't
hope.
don't go
One
there.
would hope, yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah. So hopefully we can get there someday.
Sounded so wistful.
You know, you try and set goals.
Yeah.
Keep them realistic.
All right, well, verdicts?
Yeah, you go first.
Well, you know what, I'm it's a hard pass on both fronts for me, with the writer and with the script. I really didn't find much here to redeem it.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on both, but I don't hate it like you do.
Okay. It just made me kind of angry that it seemed so blind to, like, what were supposed to be the important moments. Like, the reason that Blake Lively breaks up with Ryan is, like, so silly and not at all believable to me. And then the thing of Phil, the lookalike, telling Emma that he's not really Ryan Reynolds seemed like that should be such a big scene.
Honestly, I think, like, you can imagine, like, what if Charlie Kaufman wrote this script? I mean, I guess it's not too dissimilar to being John Malkovich.
I almost made that comparison because I watched that movie again recently. Yeah. But I think it's only similar in superficial ways. Yeah, that movie has a lot more going on.
Okay, so if you presented Charlie Kaufman with this conceit and said, "Hey, write a screenplay about it," it could be really good, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, this has a lot of things that I normally really like. I love things that have to do with, like, doppelganger situations or someone trying to... I like things concerning identity and people trying to, like, reinvent their identity or change or steal someone's identity. I like stuff like that. So for me to not like this, I think, says even more.
Sure.
We're doing The Accountant next week, right?
Yeah, The Accountant.
Let me find the logline for that. Okay, yes. Next week we're reading The Accountant by Bill Dubuque. A forensic accountant uncooks the books for illicit clients.